This is Stu Ellis reporting on behalf of the Illinois Soybean Association Checkoff Program. If you planted wheat in the fall, will you follow that with soybeans? USDA's Risk Management Agency is promoting double cropping with changes in crop insurance, says Administrator Marsha Bunger.
This past year, the department, the president, the secretary tasked RMA with becoming innovative when it comes to producing food for this country, this world. And we all know that we can't make more ground. So how do we fully utilize the ground that we have in a way that is implements good farming practices, but at the same time, hopefully produces more food. And that was where the thought of double cropping expansion came from. So RMA, with significant amount of stakeholder feedback, took a look at where double cropping was currently being done, and then also started to expand out into the areas where it possibly made sense to incorporate written agreements, but not to the degree that we have historically required for the paperworking part of that, but to possibly do blanket written agreements in those areas to make it more simple for producers. So that double cropping expansion probably goes about as far west as my home state, South Dakota. And on the fringes, we're still looking at, you need to have the experience in order to be able to be eligible for that written agreement. So we looked at double cropping not only for soybeans, but also for grain sorghum.
Some central Illinois wheat farmers, some central Illinois farmers who don't necessarily ever plant wheat, are starting to look at that as a double income opportunity, yes, given some of the new agronomics, yes, that have come up.
You're exactly right. So there is an area of the country that has been double cropping for a significant amount of time. So they are able to insure their acres as a standard policy. But again, as farmers, of course, always wanting to rise to the need to make sure that people have food. And because of the Iranian and Russian crisis, we know that there might be shortages, and wheat probably being one of those. And at the end of the day, too, the farmer has to make sure it pencils out. And so it's always a balance of the costs and the anticipation of where I lay down what chemical, what seed I'm going to need to buy. And so when they start to look at crops that they have not historically planted before, like winter wheat in some of those areas, I would really encourage those folks to involve their agronomists as well as their crop insurance agent to make sure you have an understanding of what kinds of policies you can have, either just with an outright double cropping type of farming practice or with the expansion of written agreements.
That's your soybean update. I'm Stu Ellis. To learn more about the Illinois Soybean Association and the checkoff that pays off, go to ilsoy.org.